meeting to order. Thank you for coming. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Cicchini.
Here.
Mrs. Deli is not here. Mr. Cascio.
Here.
Mrs. Morocco.
Here.
Mrs. Simmons.
Here.
Mrs. Space.
Here.
Mrs. Malone.
Here.
Mrs. Zilberry is not here. Mrs. Tortorella.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Will you please join me in the flag salute? I think we're over here now. Sorry, guys. Oh, there's two. There's many flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Sussex-Wantage Regional School District Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the school building, and notice of said meeting sent to the New Jersey Herald and the Star Ledger.
The Sussex-Wantage Regional School District is a responsive, caring, child-centered community. Our mission is to educate each individual to become a confident, lifelong learner and productive, responsible citizen by providing challenging opportunities in a safe environment through a partnership of families, schools, and communities.
Thank you, Mrs. Space. Before we move on, I just wanted to make a quick statement for our Teacher Appreciation Week. I just wanted to say thank you to all the teachers in our district and what they do. Your dedication and your hard work definitely does not go unnoticed, so thank you very much for everything. At this time, we will move on to the report of the Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you, Ms. Tortorella. I just want to echo your statements. Thank the faculty and staff. This week we kind of celebrate everybody in addition to teachers. Particular thank you to the PTO, the SWIA, and central office who are providing various festivities and food items and treats. So it's a great week.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to audience remarks. Members of the audience are invited to make brief comments about items on this agenda and matters of interest to the district. Sure, just say your name and residence, please.
Andrew Spart, 898 Greenville Road. Number 6 on personnel. Is that, I haven't heard anything about, I don't know the correct terminology of the summer
step up?
yeah, the summer like
Yeah.
step up. Is this just for
This is for special education
children,
students.
right, with
Yeah.
IEPs,
Yeah,
right?
at this
So,
time, I don't have any more information about summer step up. We're kind of looking at funding, waiting for federal government to come through with funding.
okay, fair enough. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rouse. Are there any more public comments, questions? All right, at this time, seeing none, we will move on to the board secretary certification, please.
Pursuant to NJAC 6A 23A-16.10C3, I certify that as of April 30th, 2025, no line item account has encumbrances and expenditures which in total exceed the line item appropriation in violation of NJAC 6A 23A-16.10A.
Thank you, Mrs. Riker. At this time, we do need to go into executive session, approximately 30 minutes, hopefully sooner. Action will be taken. Can I get a resolution, please?
Whereas pursuant to NJSA 10-4-12B, the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting at which the board discusses any of the matters described at NJSA 10-4-12B 1 through 9. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education shall enter into closed session to discuss legal and personnel matters. Now therefore be it further resolved by the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education that pursuant to NJSA 10-4-13B, the time when and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public is when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Thank you, Mrs. Riker. Can I get a motion to go into executive session, please?
A motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Okay, see you guys about 30 minutes. Thank you. We are back in public session. Thank you for waiting. At this time, we will move on to the presentation of agenda items, please.
Thank you. Under personnel, I'd like to move items 1 through 17.
Can I get a motion? I'll make a motion. Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Chikini?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Gassion?
Yes.
Mrs. Morocco?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Malone?
Abstaining from number 12, yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under policy, I'd like to move items 1 and 2.
Can I get a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mr. Gassion?
Yes.
Mrs. Chikini?
Yes.
Mrs. Morocco?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under finance, I'd like to move items 1 through 13.
Can I get a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Morocco?
Yes.
Mrs. Chikini?
Yes.
Mr. Gassion?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons? Yes. Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under special services, I'd like to move items 1 and 2.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Gassion?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons? Yes. Mrs. Chikini?
Yes.
Mrs. Morocco?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under curriculum, I'd like to move item number 1.
Can I get a motion?
All motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Morocco?
Yes.
Mrs. Chikini?
Yes.
Mr. Gassion?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Referring to the addendum under personnel, I'd like to move items 1 through 6.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Chikini?
Yes.
Mrs. Morocco?
Yes.
Mr. Gassion?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under policy, I'd like to move item number 1.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Chikini?
Yes.
Mr. Gassion?
Yes.
Mrs. Morocco?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under finance, I'd like to move item number 1.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Gassion?
Yes.
Mrs. Morocco?
Yes.
Mrs. Chikini?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under finance, I'd like to move item special services, I'd like to move item number 1.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Are any of these students doing this for like a second time, or it was like first time?
Yeah, I don't have that information with me. I can put something in the rundown for you. It's not out of the realm of possibility that it are. Absolutely.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mr. Gassion?
Yes.
Mrs. Chikini?
Yes.
Mrs. Morocco?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons? Yes. Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And under curriculum, I'd like to move item number 1.
Can I get a motion? Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Gassion?
Yes.
Mrs. Morocco?
Yes.
Mrs. Chikini?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
At this time, we will move on to unfinished business. Does the board have any unfinished business that they would like to discuss?
Any more updates on
Yeah, you got it. What was that?
Say, what's it again?
the baseball field?
Yeah, I would just add to what we discussed the last time, that, teachers were ordered. I think they'll be arriving in the near future. The only area, we talked to the gym teachers, that we perceive you could put them, be like along the first base side, kind of fence. Mound is affordable, I wouldn't even call it affordable mound, because I tried to lift one at the other, field. Transportable mound, maybe, a bunch of guys that are team can do, is on order. And the only thing I would add is we received correspondence from the president of the softball league, who indicated that the both presidents of the league and softball seem to be working very well together behind the scenes, and they collaborated to work out field usage this year, so that everybody could enjoy their season. And I think that prompted the softball league to rescind their application to use the field and just turn it over. So they seem to be getting along well. I spoke to the teacher who was involved with it, who was noted in the last board meeting. And she kind of gave me the history, I guess, I think as a past president of softball, where, long before any of us, I think the perception that they had with maybe, and I don't want to put words in their mouths, that softball would get shortchanged on field usage and stuff, at least what was articulated to me. But I think that's where some of their concern came from. And I certainly understand that now after she articulated that. I can't speak, and we can't speak to the greater field usage in the community. I don't know why that occurs, but certainly for us, we want everybody to enjoy it. So if somebody puts in an application for next season, we'll happily work around that. Like I said, we get that transportable member on order.
Have there been any injuries or issues?
So check with the nurse and check with the gym teachers. Everybody's fine with it. Nothing out of the ordinary that occurred thus far. Fortunately this week it seems like 5 days of rain or 4 days of rain. So, but everybody was fine with it.
I did see you using the basketball court around 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, I'm still hoping that, so that's the current basketball environment. We're still hoping that the movie folks are coming through with people that they work in the community with, make some donations to enhance that. Yeah.
So I just wanted to touch base about the Patrick. I think my first question is to follow up from previous meetings ago. Did the teachers come together in each grade and decide where they're going each year?
Yeah, I think it's a collaborative process.
Okay.
The teachers at the grade level.
Does it vary, like depending
I mean, it
what
has.
kind of kids they have in the class? Because I feel like just the couple years that I've noticed, like they've changed. Like kindergarten, we'll start doing something one year, and the next year they're doing something different, or like it's not very consistent. And I'm wondering if there's a reason for that. Like it's like the curriculum changing, like what?
Yeah,
I know they have to
I couldn't
follow.
speak to it. If I look into it a little bit more, maybe I can
Okay.
put some information out for you.
Okay, yeah, with that too, I wanted to just let the board know. I know second grade just went to Waterloo yesterday. I believe the whole grade went. They were outside, and I know previously I've been told that when the field trip's inside, parents are more restricted, like they can't go. They can only have maybe 2 chaperones, or class parents or whoever. But this one was outside, and still they were only allowed 2, I believe, from each grade. So I wanted to follow up with that. I know, like, we're big on, parents being involved. I feel like that would be a perfect opportunity to get the parents who want to be involved there. I'm hearing some of the parents that were chosen to go were kids specifically that had behaviors, which kind of made me upset because I feel like we're, what's the right word? Not giving in to them, but we're catering to them. When I feel like everybody should have like the same fair chance to have, mom there, dad there, whoever. I had, parents come up to me yesterday and specifically say like, why we couldn't go? Like it was outside, and I really didn't have an answer. Everyone, I'll look into it. So, well, so they have
to attend if it's
well,
outdoors.
yeah, so I know there's been like capacity issues, like say it's at an indoor play area, right? They can only have 40 people in there. But this was outside. I don't think they were inside at all.
Yeah, so again, I would follow up on that. We can do a little bit more detail,
Okay.
but the only thing I can add to it is that a district might look to restrict chaperones for transportation purposes, like you only have so many seats on a bus. But what I have been through in the past, myself as a principal, is that if we were going to a venue that's a private venue, we're going to, I don't know, medieval times, or locally ShopRite, or a venue like that, like, we don't have discretion over the venue.
Yeah.
So, our trip didn't go there, but parents were very savvy to the notion of like, well, I can go to ShopRite, I can go to medieval times if I'm willing to transport myself, okay? And as a teacher or a building principal, like, I wanna work with them in that
So I know in
capacity.
second grade, you did have to transport yourself, like they didn't go on the bus,
Okay,
and they had to pay their own ride.
yeah,
They made that very known up front, so like you either wanted, and I feel like,
For this last
for
trip?
this last trip,
No, you're wrong.
that's the letter that I got.
Nope. My husband chaperoned and he rode on the bus.
Did he have to pay as well?
He had to pay, yeah,
Okay.
but he rode on the
Oh, I was told
bus.
something different.
so the only like adult that we would cover, the district would cover, in some way, shape, or form would be like personnel, supervising kids, so a
Right.
parent in any way would have to. The other thing I can add is like the, over time, and I wasn't superintendent at the time, but the board's taking a look at things like, maybe looking at field trips, but it was volunteer policy, chaperone policies, those kinds of things, and like redesign them that was suited to the board's mission at the time. So there's a couple policies that touch on field trips. I think there's like 258, 50, and 2340. I'll put those out to you. You take a look at what's currently there. There's probably latitude for staff, and how they oversee chaperoning and things like that, and booking of trips. But that'll give you some insight, and we can take a look at it and see if it meets with your vision.
Yeah.
Did you get a notice?
Yeah, so I think each class got, I'm assuming different letters.
I don't know.
It
I don't
said
remember
if you
what letter I got.
volunteer, check this box.
Yeah, if you wanna volunteer, check the box.
It's $10.
And then the teacher would get back to you and let you know.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter's teacher has been very fair and equal and even with like everyone, and I'm even like the classroom helper, and I
So.
she literally
like the
picks it out of the
classroom
hat.
parent, like the classroom.
Miss
Yeah.
Warner, I'm sorry, you
Okay.
just wanna come to the podium and
Sorry,
identify yourself just because you're. So everybody knows who you are.
Everybody knows who I am.
Hear your voice.
So my daughter's teacher has been very fair as far as, picking parents. She does it out of the hat. It's never like the same parent. I don't know who went on the field trip for the other classrooms, and I don't know who like the parents were with the kids and stuff like that. But I could probably say like I'm 99.9% positive that like a teacher isn't gonna, take a parent of a child that has behaviors. I could be wrong, but just knowing the teachers, I don't think that they would do that. I'm not a teacher, I'm a sub and a mom. You know what I mean?
So I think it's more to
But-
help.
Yeah, I don't
But
think there's
regardless,
anything wrong
even
with
if
that.
they, even if they did, like, I think it would be helpful if they, if the child does have behaviors, like to have that parent. But I also do agree that if it's an outside venue, why not, But chaperones rode on the bus, so that maybe that was why it was limited. I mean, I was shocked, like, when I saw the note and I was like, you're riding on the bus.
Because other schools, I know other schools, they meet you there.
Right, usually it's like you go
Yeah.
to Space Farms, like you're meeting you at Space
Right.
Farms, you're not getting on the bus and then going to Space Farms.
Yeah.
What?
There you
15
go.
minutes early, please.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I was surprised.
Okay.
So I don't know if this was a new thing, if this was, I don't ever remember riding on a bus with my kids and my oldest is in 7th grade. But I don't ever remember like riding on a bus. I opt to drive, honestly.
So I would think
Yeah.
I feel like we should almost look into that too then, because maybe there could be an option, obviously there's not enough bus space for like 10
Right.
parents to go, but I know, speaking to teachers too, it's helpful having more parents, because now
And
it's not
honestly-
one teacher with 23 kids.
Right, and
Parent runs
I
the
will
whole
say
thing.
too, getting in the field trips that the teachers want, I don't know how that all works, but getting that in the beginning of the year and then making sure that you have a nurse that can go. Because I remember 2 times, I believe it was my oldest son and my middle son, they couldn't go on field trips because they didn't have a nurse. So if those field trips are put in, in say September and October, maybe, I don't know when they get put in, but if you could, if they're put in those, earlier in the year, and then you have a nurse that you're like, okay, this is like, these are your days, like, you're going, like, try not to, whatever. And then at least you have a nurse, you have a nurse, it helps with busing, because God forbid there's a busing issue, then you're really out. So,
Silly question, does the nurse have to be there just for like medically, like people that have allergies and stuff, or just
no, I
everybody in
believe
general?
it, isn't a nurse supposed to be on?
It depends on the circumstance. The
Okay.
school nurse will take a look at the trip and the kids in the
Oh, and like
population.
determine it,
So if a whole grade level's going, for example, you're gonna have a nurse on.
yeah, that makes sense.
What about like in the event that you were short and didn't have a nurse, like are there sub nurses?
Oh, it's a challenging,
That's why I'm saying the parents were there, why would you need a nurse?
Yeah,
Your
we've
parents are
had,
everything.
so we've had
Right.
circumstances where parents in the past have assisted with things like EpiPen, possible,
They're gonna be- You're back home,
Yeah.
it's your guardian.
And there's self-administration.
Self-administration for older kids, yeah. I gotta
So
tell
just
you,
something to look into.
yeah, this is a little bit of a bone of contention for me in the sense that last week I volunteered to chaperone my 8th grade daughter's trip and she rejected it.
Oh,
Created an argument in the house. Yeah, it wouldn't speak to me for a while.
Where were they going?
Woodlock Pines, they'll be going to. It's like a day camp,
Like a ranch.
ranch,
Yeah.
yeah.
Got your cowboy boots?
Terrible. All you folks are at ages where your kids want you to come on their trips. I mean, it's hard pouring salt on an open wound.
So I know other districts have teachers plan ahead and put all the field trips that they wanna do in the like summer agenda to get approved. Maybe you can have them plan ahead, say, okay, we always go to Waterloo, or we always go to Space Farms, or we always do a library trip or whatnot, and pertaining to the grade, maybe get all of their information and all their trips that they wanna do set in the beginning of the year rather than scrambling mid-year or a couple months before.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea. I have to look at what they currently do. And, for Lawrence in particular, we'll put, last business, the Malakas to coordinate curriculum.
Okay. Any other unfinished business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just going off of the class parents thing, I feel like I haven't gotten an update how that's going. I know you hear from some class parents that they have no involvement, and other class parents have a little bit of involvement, and some maybe have a lot. So wondering like, if it's up to the teacher, how much involvement the class parent has, if we all kind of have like, I don't know, each class has 3, some have 5, some have none.
Yeah.
Something a little more set in stone as to what's going on with that.
And it may be a good time to do like a post survey,
Yeah,
just to gauge parent perspectives of those kinds of things, and plan it for next year.
Maybe get the teacher's point of view too, like, these parents aren't really responsive or.
yeah, well, so too, I think when we talked about it, it was meant to take some of the pressure off the teachers, right? Like, certain teachers weren't having parties and certain teachers were. So to make it fair for everybody, you have class parents, they can help coordinate who's bringing in what, but I feel like if the teacher's not utilizing that and they're still not having parties, then like, what's the issue? Kind of thing, you know what I mean?
If the parents volunteered and they want to be
Yeah,
involved, then-
but they don't want your involvement, like, it's kind of, I don't know, where do you go from there, kind of thing, just wondering what the update is, or what the point of having it is if it's not being utilized, or maybe it is being utilized.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other unfinished business?
Last thing.
Okay, one thing.
Sorry.
Keep going.
I
Just keep going, yeah, just
feel
keep
like
going.
I've been saving it all.
No,
It's getting nice out.
And it's
so.
like more like it's coming to you probably as you keep saying it, like, oh
Yeah, well, it's getting nice out, so they are going on field trips and a lot of, happening. Outside time.
I was
We all
gonna
know
bring it
I'm
up in new
huge on
business.
outside time. So I do know at Lawrence specifically, they're going outside, like a lot more than they were for recess. But I'm wondering, like genuinely curious if any of the grades are going out in addition to like recess, like gym. I know Lawrence does Project Adventure. I believe gym they're not, could be wrong. But it's nice out now. I don't see why they wouldn't be. Like we're hearing about kids not being able to sit still, well, let's try to remount them. Instead of reading a book inside, bring them outside to read a book. Like, we have 2 security guards, so there's no reason why one can't be outside and one can't be inside. Like,
Any way of making like an outdoor classroom?
I don't know if teachers think that they can't do it, cause I mean, I haven't heard of anybody doing it. Now, I could be wrong, maybe they're
Yeah.
out there and you don't hear about
I
it.
can only comment on, without looking into it, the notion of like I had covered a good chunk of this week when it wasn't, it wasn't raining for things like recess, PE, or project evaluation. They were outside for all that kind of stuff. I don't know if a class, had the opportunity to go outside for a reading circle or anything.
Just to like, I
Yeah.
don't know, change the environment,
I feel like
maybe,
it should
There-
really
maybe
get
kids will
like
be
a
more
Yeah,
receptive to learning
there,
too.
most people probably aren't aware, but there's an outdoor classroom behind Lawrence School that
Is that the trail that you're referring to?
yeah. So I believe Owen Mason, one of our
Yeah.
teachers' sons, did it as a project many years ago for, I want to say Eagle Scout or something like that. And it's just become, throughout the years, it wasn't prioritized or maintained, so it's all overgrown, and, you get ticks and all that kind of thing. So that's something you can look at doing with the landscaping company to kind of, or, you don't even have to go that elaborate, just out on the playground, those types of things, I can talk to Mrs. Demolakis about it. So that does exist, there's a trail back there with,
Yeah,
Why
I
do
mean,
you-
I think you
why do
learn
you-
so
why do
much
you use it?
more.
I think it should, yeah, it's
Exactly.
because, you're gonna have somebody, I'll never forget, even, and that speaks to also the, in greater extent, the Gephardt Environmental Center used to be a place where, classes up at Wantage School in particular, sometimes Lawrence, sometimes in the school, would go up and use the property that was donated to the school district many years ago. When I was principal at Wantage School, 2 teachers in particular would spearhead the whole thing, Mr. Juliger and Mr. Coates at the 5th grade level. And they would tie it in, it was they had a curriculum to go with it, they would, one example is they read a book called Hatchet in class, and, there's the survival elements, and then they go up to the environmental center and they, let kids build forts and wagons and all kinds of things. There wasn't a huge facility for it. There's a little building on the property, so shelter became a challenge if it was gonna rain or something like that. We have a portage on. That's actually where, we talk about writing up that funding proposal for the greenhouse. I originally wrote that for a pavilion at the environmental center. And when we pulled the information to try to get it done, there's wetlands on the property and it prompts a whole host of you can't do anything on the property, and that's when ultimately nothing was done with that money, and then we shifted gears to this. I'll never forget my first couple of days on the job. I grew up in a city environment, and Mr. Coates, Mr. T took me for a tour of the Gephardt Center because I didn't know what it was, and Mr. Coates talked about widowmakers. And I said, I have no idea what is a widowmaker. And he looked around and he pushed on a tree and he came and I was like, whoa, we send kids up here? So then we brought the landscaping company in and said, take a look around. So if you want to start using things like that, you have to do it in a safe way. And certain areas may be restricted, certain areas you have to come in and have somebody make an assessment of trees that would need to come down or prune back, and just general maintenance on those. It's overgrown and things like that.
Yeah.
But
Can
it's,
we do something with the upper coffins that is at Lawrence?
you'd have to get back in there with our
You can see it,
landscapers.
it's just really overgrown.
Yeah, you,
I don't know, I haven't. I
yeah,
don't know what.
you're more than welcome, you wanna
Right
come
behind
for a
the
tour and
playground.
check it out, I'll show it to you.
Like, I think if like we got it assessed, like,
Isn't there
okay, here's
still-
how much it's gonna
Isn't there
cost.
still like a sign there or something? I think I
Yeah,
saw it
there's an
down there.
entranceway
What
and a
is it?
sign,
Well, we should totally utilize it, because then if you start, especially at the earlier grades, it becomes more likely that once you integrate some kind of outdoor activity
Yeah.
at the older grades, it's going to be used, you know,
Yeah.
you're not saying.
ticks are a challenge up here too, and like we can't, put many pesticide applications and things like that down, so then
It is in front,
Yeah,
You go
so
home,
then-
ticks are in,
So you're
right?
teaching kids about, we go to the environmental center, we had a binder, and if you had a tick on you, we took the tick, we charted it, we put it into the thing.
It's a learning experience.
You get a lint roller,
Yeah.
lint
Right.
roller, it's a shower, and there's no ticks, and come back inside. Maybe we could put like, we could newsletter out to parents, community, say, this is
what we have, this is what needs to be done to it. If anybody wants to donate their time, we're meeting on this such and such day.
And
I just don't know who would be against their kids being outside more.
Yeah, and
Like I wouldn't.
especially
they're
the
little.
curriculum director is like coming on and you say like, hey, like here's what we're
Oh,
planning on doing,
hey,
like incorporate
in
this
the
into your
interview
curriculum.
process, what do you think about this? How do you,
Yeah.
what would you do with this? Give them that as an initiative
Yeah.
and goal, but I'd start small with something like the large school property. You know, the Gephardt Center is maintained in regard to lawn care and stuff, there's a big open field, you can utilize that, but it's not, that, in that capacity, different than that, out front of the public school. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but more
facilities,
students walk,
facilities is a
Yeah,
challenge.
it's literally right
Yeah,
there on the
I
property.
would
I mean, it's through the woods, but
Yeah,
Cause you look at like a bunch of other schools, not public schools, like outdoor time is like a critical.
it's a
component.
necessity.
And
100%.
Yeah.
And the fact that we don't prioritize that, I mean, even recess, I talked about that before, what is it, 30 minutes what they get? At that age, you need a lot more than 30 minutes of running around.
and if anybody's up there, you wanna come check it out, anytime I'm around, I'm happy to do that, or Mrs. Similak
I like,
can show you.
Mr. Hopkins, I agree too, about
Yeah.
offering it to the
You're involved
community.
with the parents too, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe the scouts would make it another, put some
Yeah, there you
sweat
go.
equity back into it, yeah.
Community service.
Right.
Opportunities and whatnot.
Maybe you guys can make this one.
No, I don't anymore. Wanna find it, NHS.
Any other unfinished business? Any new business?
I guess, is there any type of thing, I guess, where the students, like at the middle school fund particularly, have any involvement with, like a senior citizen community?
There are circumstances where we bring senior citizens into the building, to celebrate them and recognize them for various things, usually around the holidays or the play, they'll bring them in as audience members, you know, like bagel breakfast type stuff. Wantage School used to do a big, senior citizen luncheon right around the holiday season. Some of those things were discontinued with COVID, just because the nature of the senior citizens, the exposure to COVID, and then just not brought back, and you know, there would be funding involved in some of those types of things, not necessarily the middle school stuff, middle school's still doing that. And then there's things like more generic opportunities that senior citizens are part of, but it's not necessarily like a senior citizen function. Like volunteering, coming in to read for, do like celebrity read across America Week, those kinds of things.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of like the 8th graders going to a senior citizen home and like buddying up like one-on-one and teaching them
Yeah.
like, hey, here's what you do with your iPhone, like here's how we integrate your photos of your grandkids, like let me change your background, you know?
Okay.
Like it kind of creates like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
respect
You
to
don't
your
even have to be a
elders and stuff.
senior, you could be 47
Okay.
years old.
Listen to your mom, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, we could look into it, I don't know, you know, are there facilities around, like, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I just feel like
Yeah.
that's like, oh, that would create like a really nice culture of respect, you know, like for your elders
Yeah.
and stuff, and it's just like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
girls.
Oh, the new one by Shopify, Sparta?
Um,
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah,
anyone
nice,
would even be
nice
interested
place.
in that, so I was like, oh, maybe it's a good idea.
Yeah, we would have to explore that
Yeah.
for a couple, you know, different perspectives there.
Any other new business? Seeing none, we'll move on to audience remarks. Members of the audience are invited to make brief comments about items on this agenda and matters of interest to the district. Any other public comments?
Yeah.
Seeing none, we do not need the second executive session, so we will move on to adjournment. Can I get a motion for adjournment? Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second. Whoever.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any no? All right, everyone, have a great evening. We are adjourned.
Thank you.